Welcome to the latest episode of Kicks, Cleats, and Athletes. It's your boy, Young EJ. We got our board ops, JD,
Yo.
and our chancellor of all things kicks, Jimmy T.
Call me Chance. What's up, fellas?
What's happening?
What's good?
Jason, I'd ask you what the weather was like, but
Boy,
he's got a puffer on.
It's crazy. It's,
Rick down there in Florida, eh?
That's right.
Is it
gotta
reversed?
rep one time. You know what? Nah, I don't. It don't reverse.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
got that fleece in there just in case you get that chill, boy.
you never know.
Too funny.
How everyone feeling tonight? How y'all boys feeling tonight?
Good, man. Good.
Not
busy.
bad.
Busy life. Always time for you two boys, though.
Yeah. Man, I'm ready for this week to be over already, and it's only Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
Yeah, I should feel like a long week.
You're in for a rude awakening.
Man.
Tomorrow's going to be rough. It's that hump day.
Man, this whole week has been rough. I don't even know, but it is what it is, The weekends just fly by, but the weeks just drag on.
That is the plight.
It is. But we got a great show in store for you guys tonight. We definitely going to be talking about week 2 in the NFL. Going to talk about some college football, some, bigger schools struggling this weekend, some identity crisis going on with some others. So we'll definitely get you into that. We'll leave you with some kicks of the week and also some trivia. So we got a great show in store for you guys tonight. So we're going to jump right into some college football. We'll start with the collegiate side before we get into the NFL side. So we'll jump into, my boy Jimmy over there wearing the Gators hat. So we're going to jump in right away to the nice win Saturday night, Florida over Tennessee.
Gators.
So, Mr. EJ, what stood out to you about the Gators this week as opposed to, the first 2 weeks of the season?
Well, we had a run game. We put the ball in our running backs' hands and we let them eat. We didn't go to Graham, to win us this game. We said we're gonna roll with where our strength is. ETN, nice with it. Like he playmaker, explosive. Like I can see attributes of him like from his brother. Like he's not as big, but he got wheels. And if we can figure out ways to just be creative and get him the ball in his hands in space, oh, so nice. And even our wide receiver, his name's eluding me.
The young boy?
Yeah, the young
Wilson. Was that
Trey
Wilson?
Yeah.
Trey Wilson.
Yeah, his name's Eugene Wilson. They call him Trey.
Boy, he was cooking.
Hey,
like
last year he was playing high school ball.
Yeah, we got something in our hands right there. I was happy to see the moment wasn't too big for him, and then our quarterback being like, you know what, he's running the route. He got the hot hands. Let's feed him. Like move the change early. Like get him in that rhythm, and it was a beautiful thing. It actually almost made me have faith in Billy Napier. Like I was like, I like how we call and play. I don't know how good Tennessee is. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't know how good they are. They looked a little average to me. Like Utah looked like the superior team in the two from, watching both of them play. So I got to see how Tennessee looks going forward. But for us it's a big game. I'm going to call it a rivalry, but it's a big game between us and Tennessee. Like we have no love lost for them.
It is a rivalry.
But yeah, when I think, I'll be thinking Florida, Georgia, Florida, you know what I mean? But it's a rivalry. Okay, we'll call it a rivalry. But I'm happy to see that we came, we did what we were supposed to do, and yeah, man, I'm all right with Billy today.
Okay,
Nice to hear.
You know what? I'm with you there. I'm all right with Billy today.
Yeah.
We'll see this week how it goes. I mean, this week we should be fine. We play Charlotte. So shouldn't have any issues there, but we'll see as the year goes on, So this week I'm with you. I'm okay with Billy this week. In 2 weeks time, I might be like, it might be time for him to go again. So we'll see. You know, Jimmy don't like it.
Chasing flow with the wind, bro. Flow with the wind.
Hey, when it
Flow
come
with
when
the
it come to
wind.
when it come with the coach, you know what? I'm just gonna go with it. You know, but I definitely see what you were talking about though, Jimmy. You know, because I know a couple weeks ago you mentioned how young the team was with a lot of freshmen and sophomores, and you definitely see it. And I think each game that goes on, they will gain more confidence and they will play better. And you saw that. You know, the defense definitely stepped up. We definitely had a much better run game. You know, the offensive line protected. Mertz didn't have any kind of turnovers. Like he kept he protected the ball as well. So I think a lot of that helped, you know, as we went through that game. And like I said, as we get week after week, those boys should be able to build a little bit more confidence. You know, even if we lose, you know what I mean? It should still be some good confidence, some good building blocks right there for them to get more games under their belt and just kind of get a better feel for, you know, SEC football in a sense, because now we're really going to start getting into the meat and potatoes of our schedule. So all in all, I thought it was a good night. You know, it's a great victory. You know, we keep Tennessee from once again, you know, not winning in the swamp since what, 99 or 2000, something like that, something crazy. I know it's been a minute
Like
since
World
that.
War
they've
II.
Like
won.
that.
Well, you know, it's funny. I think they've only won
Vietnam.
like twice in the swamp
Vietnam,
since
my
since
goodness.
way back when. Um, so yeah, so it's not like Tennessee ever has much success when they come to the swamp anyway. So it was definitely great to see that our boys showed up and showed out. You know, ETN had a career game.
That
So,
boy
you know,
good.
he is.
That boy
I
real good.
wish he would be the starter and instead of them starting what's his name all the time.
I mean,
Like let him
they
start.
see the same amount of volume. And
Look, I agree they do, but I rather ETN start the game and switch it up a little bit.
yeah, I mean I think they should ride with the hot hand a little bit more. I think a lot of times they'll go into like their rotation and just keep going through with their rotation. But I get it. You know, it's worked for him. You know, over the last 2 years, the run game was good last year. I thought
It was.
Montreal didn't see the field as well in this game than he has in the past. And that's what I mean. I thought ETN had the hot hand.
Yeah.
So I'd
He was
rather them
cooking.
just kept feeding them. But see, they were feeding them, and he has to come out of the game a couple of times. So you know, at the same time, 174 yards. He had a bunch of big runs. He was running through tackles. I mean, that gets exhausting over time. So
It
you know,
does. And
it
I mean,
is.
you know, and I think, you know, with rotating them, it does keep them fresh. You know, it preserves them from possible injuries, even though,
Yep.
you know, that's not predictable. But, you know, having them run, you know, 20 times, 20 carries as opposed to maybe 35 carries because you're splitting the load, you know, that is beneficial there.
Yeah, the young kid, the freshman Trayon Webb, he's going to be good too. I don't know if
Yeah.
did you guys watch the game last week? That when
Mm-hmm.
they basically just ran the entire game. Yeah, I mean
Nah, I didn't even see him.
he's big, he's fast. He's going to learn a little bit more behind those two guys. But I think after Montreal probably leaves for the draft this year, it'll be the ETN and Webb show for sure. And I mean, if you get running backs watching this offense, they're going to want to come play at Florida.
100%.
The way they run the ball. So
yeah.
Man, no love for the defense, guys. Jason, you talked about it a little bit.
The
Defense is top 10 in the country right now.
The defense stepped up. I mean, look, I'll be honest with you. Minus the very first play of the season defensively when Utah bombed them, the very first play of the game. Other than that play, the defense has been solid.
Yeah. And Jason
Other
Marshall
than that
slipped on that
play.
play. I went back and watched it. He slipped. There was a miscommunication. He tried to get the safety to go over the top, and he slipped while he was trying to communicate it. So it was actually more of a busted play than anything.
Yeah, but I mean, even so, other than that particular play, the defense has been
and
solid
that
all
Tennessee
year.
offense, Joe Milton wasn't great in this game, but that Tennessee offense is really, really hard to defend. I mean, they spread you out, they thin you out. But Scooby Williams, number 17, that name, that boy is good. He's a junior this year, so he's a little bit of the older team, but he hasn't played as much. But he's a good player. He was spying Milton and making sure the running game didn't get off in this game.
Because I was like, I didn't really see a lot from Milton. Like, he had some plays. I was like, okay, but I was like expecting, I guess, a higher power offense. That's why I was like, I don't know if Tennessee is like
what
that.
Hendon Hooker was, he was accurate, and that made them extremely efficient because it's really hard. I mean, even the two big plays that they had, if you want to be nitpicky, and it is what it is. Like they scored, it's what happens. But if you want to be nitpicky, Brew McCoy pushed off on the young kid, Jaheim Jackson, on the one in the second half, and then there was an illegal pick play on the first one in the first half.
Yeah, it was.
But it's super gimmicky, right? So like it's hard for the rest to like narrow down those things because everything's so spaced out that it's almost like if they blink, they miss it. So it's a really hard defense to defend. So that's what I was looking for in this game. I was like, all right, the defense has been solid this year. How are they going to do against this gimmicky offense? Now I think more when they get to more traditional offenses, I think they showed that they can be dominant against different types of offenses. So I know EJ, you was talking about that the defensive coordinator.
I was because
never judge a book by its cover, sir.
But yes,
never judge a book by its cover, sir. Hey, listen, those boys are eating right now.
How he was looking on that sideline in that Utah game, I was concerned.
Right now.
I was concerned.
Boys are eating.
I'll go into it with an open mind, though.
Yeah, and listen, man, a little jab at Graham Mertz. Graham Mertz, 73% completion percentage.
He seems like
654 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's got 2 rushing touchdowns. I mean, he's played solid.
Someone said, one of the announcers said during the game, they were like, "This is the greatest game we've ever seen Graham Mertz play," and I was like, "Oh my goodness!"
For sure. I mean, he was not great at Wisconsin. Now there are what was the coach's name? Paul Chris, I think it was. The story is that he told Billy Napier that we misused him. So we'll see how it works out. I mean, we got to get into the meat and potatoes of the SEC conference, so we're not going to get too far. 2 weeks we're in Lexington. That's Dan Mullen struggled with him. We lost to him last year. We'll see how that. We're going to go on the road again. You had the swamp behind you in this big first SEC game. We didn't play well on the road in Utah. Again, that game, we got into the red zone 4 times and penalties, missed a field goal. So, that could have been a different game too if you clean up the mistakes. It was very ugly because of that, but they executed in this Tennessee game. So I want to see how they look on the road for sure. But it was a good win.
Definitely
I was excited to see it. The swamp looked like it was rocking.
It definitely did. Definitely did.
Best venue in sports. Scott Strickland, stop trying to gut it out and reduce capacity.
100%.
Stop it.
For real. But you know what? Since we brought up penalties and stuff, a team that benefited from the other team committing so many penalties, Florida State. Boy, did they get lucky this weekend. Boston College had their number, but penalties derail Boston College from pulling off an upset. I mean, even down to the very last play where they stopped them on 4th down, but then committed a personal foul penalty that gave them the automatic first. And that was the end of the game. They were up. Florida State was up big at one point, I think 31-10. And Boston College came storming back.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't.
I was at the ballpark, so I didn't see. I didn't realize that they were that far out in front.
Oh,
yeah. Well, I mean, at the beginning it was close. Boston College went up first, and they were up 7-0, and then it was a close game here and there, and then it was 7-7, 10-7, and then after that, Florida State finally got it going and kind of just went off, and then I don't even know what really happened. There's just they got stuck in the mud offensively, and just Boston College just started picking them apart, and all of a sudden here we had a game 31-29 with an opportunity to get the ball back with about a minute and a half or so left in the game, and then they committed another dumb penalty, and that was all she wrote. But is Florida State going to be a contender, or are they still pretenders?
Definitely contenders. I think it was a trap game for them. They weren't really looking, for Boston College to do much of anything. And, especially when they were up, like you said, 31-10, then they just were kind of like, yo, we got this. We got this game. And the weather conditions weren't ideal. So when that momentum like shifted and Boston College started to come back, I'm like, okay, but I'm not really thinking that they're doing anything until it got to that last possession. I'm like, all right, Boston College really are looking like they have a chance to win this thing. And that being like an ACC opponent, they've seen Boston College. Boston College has seen them a bunch. I was rooting for Boston College, not gonna lie, but I just think it was a trap. Yeah, it was a trap game for. Well, of course, I definitely think it was a trap game for Florida State.
It would have been a beautiful day if they'd have lost,
because they looked a ton better, prior games comparatively to Boston College. I think they played down to their competition, and they squeaked by, but I don't think you'll probably see them play like that versus another like a powerhouse team because they got too much talent, man. They're loaded. It's wild. Receivers, running backs, defense, like they're loaded.
Yeah, I think they're gonna get Clemson this weekend. I mean, Clemson just, it could be another trap game. I mean, Clemson is still Clemson, but
I think they get up for Clemson.
But
they could have been looking forward last week too.
For Clemson?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. Is Clemson going to get up for Clemson? Because they haven't really looked great this year. So, who are we getting this weekend? Are we getting Clemson that we know what they could be, or is Florida State now going to take over the ACC?
Well, this is Clemson season because they lose 2 ACC games. They don't have a shot at the championship because Duke and Florida State are on their side of the conference.
Yeah.
So they're gonna be up. I don't know how well they're gonna play offensively, but they're gonna be up. They got a good defense. Their offense can't continue to put them in bad situations.
No, and with Florida State, it's the way, especially the way Miami's looking. That rivalry game is going to be a lot more meaningful this year.
That's true.
That's true. And they normally play in October, so that game's probably going to be coming up in probably like the next 2 to 3 weeks. They're going to be getting ready to play. So, Florida State's got a nice little gauntlet to get through these next few weeks, and I guess that way we'll kind of see because they still got to play North Carolina, who always could give you a run for your money. So I don't know.
They're going to play Duke as well. They have.
I think
there's some teams on their schedule. I don't think any of those teams, with the exception of Clemson. Clemson's probably the only one that can match them talent for talent right now. I know Miami's on. Miami is inching that way. They've had a couple of good recruiting classes. I just don't think they've done what Florida State has done in the transfer portal. Plus Travis Rudolph. We didn't talk about this a couple weeks ago. Do you know he was in the same class as Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields? Dude is like 40. Seriously, Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields are in their 3rd season in the NFL right now. This guy's playing college football. I'm just saying.
You talking about Jordan Travis?
Yeah. What did I call him?
You got Travis Rudolph.
My bad. Jordan Travis. Yeah. You hear Travis and Jordan Travis is like 40 years old, bro. Like,
you ain't never lie. I was talking to someone about it the other day, and I was like, "Yo, how many more years is he still?"
It feels like he's been there forever, right?
I feel like he's been there a minute.
Yeah, I know. I said the same thing. So I because I didn't get a chance to watch the game. We were at the ballpark, but after the game, I was just kind of like looking at I was watching the highlights, and I was like, why do I feel like this guy's been here for 10 years? So I went to look at it, and this is where I got the information from. I was like, this is the same recruiting class as Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence. I was like, how is he still there? Like, what? Is he still going to school? Is he getting a master's?
Well,
musical year 1 year, I remember.
He had 2020 as well. So they gave everybody a
year. Yeah, and he had the 2020, so he had the COVID year.
Did he redshirt?
This is probably because I think this is like his 6th year at Florida State. It might be like a 6th year.
Florida State good for that. Chris, how old was Chris Winkie?
Chris Winkie was damn near pushing 30.
That was 30. Playing against college kids.
You know what? I'll tell you what. I'm gonna stay an extra year next year just so we can try to match that. Was it Brandon Weeden was another one too at Oklahoma State?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it is what it is. Like,
everything that happened.
There's a lot of those because Stetson Bennett was super old too.
Yeah. Well, did you see Virginia actually just signed a kicker, and this guy tried out for the team. I think it was like 10 or 15 years ago, and didn't make it. Went to the Army and served for like 10 years. and then came back, went back to Virginia to go back to school and
Did
tried out
see
for the
that.
team. And I think he made the team, but he's like in his 30s.
Yeah. Well, heck, Colorado State's kicker was 31. I saw a buddy come up. I was like, "Who is this adult?" His face looks like someone.
Hey, EJ, that means there's still hope for you. Then
I tell you what,
with your bionic legs, you might be able to get there.
This guy
might be able to kick some 60-yarders. Never know. Just got to crank them bad boys.
I should have went to go try out when I went back to school.
Oh, try out for the squad?
For what?
Yeah, I should. I don't know. I don't know what kind of squad they got, but
for what sport?
Something. I got some eligibility. Oh, I had some eligibility left. I don't think I have anymore, but I'm just, but it's cool. Man. It's but I don't think I answered the question. I think
will end up like Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
We can
just weird aside for a second. Speaking of kickers, did you see like Prime switch kickers in the middle of the game? It was like, I'm going to my second kicker.
He took Feely out after he missed that field goal.
I was like, that was ballsy. I never really seen a kicker get like changed out middle of the game.
I mean,
Florida changed their kicker.
Did he get hurt?
Florida. In the middle of the game, we did.
Yes. Dude that missed the field goal and then got the extra point blocked. I mean, listen, he's a young kid. I don't want to start like bringing him down, but like he got switched. He got changed out in the middle of the game.
Bring him down. It's all good.
Yeah.
Remember, like a few years back, they had open tryouts because the kickers were so bad.
I do remember.
And they held open tryouts. This was like, I don't know,
Alabama
like
did that too.
8 years ago.
Do you remember that? Yeah. Do you remember it was way back when? But this is when LSU was when Les Miles was still there, and there was a huge game. It was like I think the game ended 9-6, and they missed like 4 field goals. I thought Nick Saban was going to pull somebody out the stands. He looked so infuriated. They tried, and I swear to God, they tried 3 different kickers in that game. I can't. I have to go back and look, but I just feel like that's, But the kid, the Trace Mack, the kid that came in, I mean, he was a highly touted recruit. I was trying to figure out why he wasn't actually the kicker in the first place, but maybe he just wasn't performing in practice. I don't know. But yeah, that they made that change as well. But he went to his guy. The kicker is Jay Feely's son.
Yeah, that's why I was like, oh man, this is really going.
He was pretty accurate. I think he had hit everything except for one, and it was like close.
Well, he missed one. Games. He missed one like the first game of the season. He missed like I think his first field goal attempt.
It was ugly or it was close.
It was a little ugly.
It was ugly
if I remember.
But he brought the kid that he brought with him over from Jackson State.
Yeah.
He pushed him into the game.
But that's what I was wondering. I was like, was he hurt or it was just like,
couldn't risk it. I was like, I need every point. I can't risk it, which is tough, but
it is. I mean, but I don't think you just bench him like that. I think he's still your starter going forward, and until maybe he just had an off day, maybe something wasn't, he wasn't feeling good. But I don't know if you just bench him right away. I think you let him start again this coming week and against Oregon, and if he misses another one, then it's like, all right, you know what? Going to put you on the shelf for a little bit, kind of let you get your mind right, get your head back into the game, and then we'll see how you look in practice and kind of go from there. But I don't know if you just, one field goal and you're like, even though I know you need the points, especially in a tight game like that. I mean, you need every point you could get. But I don't know.
Well, he didn't completely go away from him. He let him do the kickoffs. He let him kick the ball off, but he was just like field goals. You're a little iffy right now. That dude
not even extra points. He ain't even extra points.
I know he didn't get any extra points either. So, facts.
So that's all I was wondering if he was hurt or something, but I don't know. But
you were saying open tryouts, like they were looking for kickers, man. I think Nick Saban might be having open tryouts for quarterbacks. I think he might.
Look, I don't know why he benched. What's his name? No, not Milton.
Milroe.
Yeah. I don't understand why. Okay, he struggled against Texas, but look at what Bryce Young did last year. They struggled against Texas last year, so it's not like you were expecting something better. I mean, Alabama just from the start of the season, they haven't looked the best. So I mean, I don't know why he benched him and then putting in. Can't figure out who you want to use. Putting in 2 guys and they both look terrible and struggle against USF of all teams. And I'm like, what is going on right now? I'm telling you, Alabama's going to lose about 2 or 3 games this year.
Well, they got
already
Ole Miss
lost
this weekend.
1. So they're probably going to lose.
Weekend.
I wouldn't be surprised if they lost to Ole Miss. They're most likely, definitely, probably going to lose to LSU. And they may get caught up by somebody else along the way. They're going to lose about 3 games this year. It's going to be one of Nick Saban's worst years this year.
Well, finally, it's
they named him the starter again.
Milroe. Yeah, I know. Milroe.
Yeah. Okay, they have a choice.
They had no choice. It was like Monday morning. It was like, hey, listen, it was such a peculiar situation.
Yeah, he showed us what he needed to do in practice, and we're gonna go back to him. He's gonna be our starter. Like, dude, no, you saw the trash you got on your bench, and was like, man, we gotta figure something out. Man,
yeah,
as long as Georgia is going to dominate the way they are, as long as Dion is going to be a presence and make Colorado relevant, as long as Lincoln Riley is going to stay at a big school and be this quarterback whisperer, as long as Michigan and Jim Harbaugh is able to stay up there, like Alabama's not going to get all these top recruits like they were in, the mid 2000s.
Well, no, Jay.
They'll be a top 5 recruit. Yeah, they're 25 per class, Jason. They can't get all of them. It's an average of 25 players per class. It'll be fine. I promise.
I mean, think about it though. The last few years, they just have not looked as dominant, really. But
at the quarterback just got drafted number 1 overall.
That's the issue.
I don't think it's been quarterback. Yeah. This year has been more quarterback play and just.
The defense gave up 3 points, Jason.
But Jay, Jay. Last year, I mean, they put TCU in that joint. I feel you, but I adamantly said that I felt like Alabama should have been in the playoffs last year. But I mean, it wasn't like they were chump change last year. They were like the 5th seed.
Alabama's too big of a name. Yeah. Nick Saban's too big. Now, if Nick Saban leaves, then you'll start seeing, they'd have to replace him with somebody. Like, it'd have to be Kirby Smart for them to continue the way they recruit now. But I think they're going to struggle with Bill O'Brien being gone in the NFL because he was kind of the head of the snake on the offense. Like, he has done a really good job of just continuing to replace that position. And I think
they haven't had quarterback troubles in a while.
Yeah, and you think about it, like Mac Jones, it was supposed to be Bryce Young after Tua left. Mm-hmm. And Mac Jones, he paid his dues. He developed himself. He made sure he studied the game, and he had once because Tua went down towards the end of his career at Alabama. He came in, he balled out, and it was supposed to be Bryce Young to take it from him as a true freshman, and he's like, nah. And he had he had a great year, got drafted in the top 15, and then Bryce Young took over the reins. The development was there.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure the development has been there with either they missed on their evaluation on what they wanted to do with Milroe, or he's just not quite there yet. Sometimes it takes you longer to get there. But he should have been the quarterback. I don't understand. Like he made some mistakes in that Texas game, but he snapped back too a few times after making like huge mistakes. Like the bad turnover, he came back out, had a good drive, led him to like a field goal scoring drive, and then came back, made another mistake, but then he kept snapping back. So I just didn't understand. And plus, I think the more of it is the offensive line. The offensive line hasn't played well. So if you're going to have offensive line issues, you need a guy that's going to be able to run the ball.
Exactly. No, I agree.
I don't know. Maybe he was trying to send a message to his team, and he knew that he could kind of get away with it against USF. I don't know. But it was really weird.
I think he doesn't
play at all. He didn't play at all.
He doesn't like to lose to people that were on his coaching tree. Like if you were under him and you play, like he just
never
really grinds his grill.
It never happened twice. Jimbo did it, and then and then this one. But he beat Kirby like 3 times before Kirby got the best of him. So of course he doesn't.
He just does not like that. Yeah.
Can you imagine him after if Lane beats him this weekend?
My God.
The troll of all trolls in college football coaches.
Wow. He might do some wild stuff at that halftime.
Did you see what he put out? Wait, did you guys see what Lane Kiffin put out though?
Oh, that they fired the coach or demoted him or something like that. The defensive coordinator or the offensive coordinator. What was it?
After that, he said that there was a change in the defensive coordinator or something like that, stirring the pot. Who knows if it's true or not? But then he went on the social media and posted a Taylor Swift song called "Castles Crumbling." I'm gonna read you some of the lyrics to this song real quick.
Let's hear it.
Once I had an empire in a golden age. I was held up so high, I used to be great. They used to cheer when they saw my face. Now I fear I have fallen from grace. And I feel like my castle's crumbling down, and I watch all my bridges burn to the ground. And you don't want to know me. Oh, there's more. Once I was the great hope for a dynasty. Crowds would hang on my words, and they trusted me. Their faith was strong, but I pushed it too far. I held that grudge till it tore me apart. Power went to my head, and I couldn't stop. Ones I've loved tried to help, so I ran them off. And here I sit alone behind walls of regret, falling down like promises that I never kept.
Kiffin hitting him with the Swift bars, hitting him with the Taylor Swift bars.
I saw that and I was rolling. I'm like, boy, Lane Kiffin is like the 50 Cent, boy.
I like Lane, man. I like Lane.
Rolling.
That's funny.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, he can't wait to play Alabama every year so he can.
But see, you know what? I wish Saban was a trash talker as well, because with all this Lane Kiffin's doing, if Ole Miss loses, like I want Saban to hit him with like one of them one hit quitter lines, something
No.
Be
Saban
like,
is a trash talker, Jason. He doesn't do it before the game. He waits until after the game and be like, "See, I told you guys this and that." Like, that's how he is. He'll wait. He's like one of those trash talkers. Like you're in sports enough. Like you'll have guys who are like won't talk any ish until after their team has either won or they get missing if their team lost. Right? That's Saban. He waits until afterwards. And then there's the people like Lane that'll just talk no matter what. It don't matter what happened.
Bad or indifferent. Yeah. No, Lane spitting that hot fire.
Yeah.
But
Nick Saban might kill somebody if he's Lane and Ole Miss this weekend.
Oh man.
I mean, we'll see. Some of those teams. I mean, Georgia got off to a slow start too. I mean, they struggled. Texas got off to a slow start. I mean, it wasn't the week for like the bigger school or the top dogs, especially against the opponents they were playing against. No one really played a strong opponent where you could be like, well, you know what? Okay, it was a great game. I mean, they all played weaker opponents and just struggled. I mean, Florida State, Texas, Alabama, Georgia. I mean, they all just struggled. I mean, they all came away with the victory, but it just wasn't crisp, so who knows?
And it's normal. It's you saw it all in one weekend this weekend, but it's normal for a team to struggle against one or two teams over the year. They're not focused, make a ton of mistakes.
Looking ahead.
Yeah, looking ahead. Things like that. They take a team too lightly. Or sometimes they're just bad matchups. Like South Carolina always gives Georgia issues. I don't know what it is about South Carolina, but they always give them a tough time. So I don't think any less of Georgia. You have to see a bigger sample size. If they start getting to the SEC and they can't score the ball more often, then you probably start thinking, okay, maybe they're a little weaker on offense. With Stetson Bennett going to Carson Beck. Where the weapons are. But I'm not.
Who was the quarterback? Who was the quarterback that Stetson Bennett won the job from? Who was the other guy?
It was Carson Beck. He beat out because Carson Beck came in.
Okay. I thought there was someone else that he had beat out before that.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have Brock Grand. Is it Grandergriff? I don't remember how. It's something Griff. But he came in. He was the number one recruit in the nation the year that he came in, and he's but Carson Beck came in the year before that. He's kind of held him off. Who
beat out Justin Fields at Georgia? Who is that?
Oh, we didn't necessarily beat him out. He was just there before him, but it was Jacob Eason. He was the year before, and then he got hurt. And then Jake Fromm came in with Justin Fields. I think Jake Fromm came in the year before.
Yeah, I think
And
I'm thinking
then,
of Jake Fromm, who ended
Justin,
up. Yeah,
there was a lot of. I think Justin Fields left. There was a lot of issues that he didn't like with like race and all that stuff. Like he was out of there after that. Some of it probably had to do with the playing time. He was probably promised to play, but at the same time, I think there were some other issues that he was like, this isn't the place for me.
Don't believe the coaches if they tell you go play automatically.
Oh yeah. I mean, you can't do that. But yeah, Carson Beck, he's actually he went to the high school I went to in Jacksonville. He's from
word.
Funny, I don't know if you guys knows about him, and this is Florida hates him. So like when you're gonna start hearing a lot of the Gator fans talk about him when he gets around. He basically leveraged Florida's. Mullen wanted him bad, and he didn't have an offer from Georgia. He got the offer from Florida. He was committed to play baseball at Florida, and he leveraged the football scholarship offer to get his Georgia offer. So when Georgia saw them offer him, they went to go scout him and offered him, and he flipped immediately. He didn't commit, but he was like, there was so much like hype around him, like committing. Like he was at the Swamp every weekend. Mullen was at every game every weekend, and then he leveraged it to get his Georgia thing. So a lot of Florida fans hate him. So
well, we'll see. Well, you know what? Let's jump into the NFL. You know, we just completed our second week. We had some great games this weekend. You know, some comebacks. You know, the Giants finally scored some points and enough points to come back and win after, looking horrible. Washington had a nice
baby.
Washington had a nice comeback on Denver. Dolphins once again looked good. 49ers looked good. Dallas actually looked good again. I mean, so, you got some teams that look good and some teams that are still trying to figure it out. So we're going to start with one of those teams that are still trying to figure it out, and they probably trying to figure out, man, did we overpay? And we're going to start with the Cincinnati Bengals. They are now 0-2, and I feel like someone on this show picked them to win their division. I don't remember. Was it one of the two of you?
No, I think it was you.
Nah, it wasn't me. Because I went with Baltimore.
No, because you remember I told you about this calf. I told you I was worried about it, and I knew there.
I go back to the tapes. I feel like I said the Ravens too.
No, I said the Steelers.
Oh, okay.
I said the Steelers.
Yeah.
I think I went with the Ravens. I believe.
I think it was Pat. We'll have to go back and look at it. But I'm also positive it was Pat because EJ and I were and I remember he agreed with me. We didn't feel good about the calf injury.
Yeah, nah.
But I picked the Steelers. You picked Baltimore, right, Jason?
Yeah, I believe I picked Baltimore.
What's the other team in that division? Cleveland.
Yeah,
I think you went Baltimore. EJ. I know you didn't go. I know you didn't go Cincinnati though.
Nah, I didn't.
Yeah, okay.
Speaking of Cleveland, man, that sucks for Nick Chubb, man. That is just.
I haven't watched the replay. I don't want to.
Yeah, it's awful. It's awful. And it even, I mean, I feel bad for him because he's a beast and, he already had like that reconstruction to his knee. But I also had him on 2 fantasy football teams.
I was going to say, it must have been on one of your fantasy teams.
2 of them, man.
You're selfish. You're selfish. Instead of worried about this man's career, you worried about your fantasy football team, EJ.
I gave my deepest regrets for what this man is going through. I did.
Your condolences?
Oh my God.
But I am going through some. I've lost him, J.K. Dobbins, and Aaron Rodgers to season injury. Like,
Wait, did you have all of them on the same team?
Nah, he didn't have.
Not on the same team. Just for over 3 teams.
See, all right. That's just one injury per team.
2 were from one team.
Yeah, 2 was in one team. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I got you. No, yeah. I mean, I haven't seen it. I've heard about it. It's. I think it's more of like, will he play next season or ever play again? Right? Is that what everybody's kind of looking at it?
It looks bad. I mean, I don't. Modern science has gotten like to be super amazing. So who knows?
Yeah. Quietly, I mean, he's arguably and quietly, just depending on who you talk to. I think it's more style based, but the best running back in the league. He just doesn't get as much, even though everybody like sees him as a top 3, top 5 running back. He just doesn't get as much love and publicity because he plays in Cleveland.
In Cleveland,
yeah.
But it's
he don't really say much.
He averages over 5 yards a carry. I mean, give it to him twice, it's a first down. I mean, that's Hall of Fame yards right there. So it's just.
But you're right
sad
though.
to see.
between him and Derrick Henry, I mean, I feel like they're like the top two, and Christian McCaffrey. Those are probably like your top three backs right there. But yeah, you're right. He doesn't really get a lot of love, and just hopefully it's not a career-ending type of injury, and he's able to make a comeback and be ready for next season. I just I feel bad for these running backs. I mean, Saquon hurt as well. It's like these running backs can't catch a break. They do
Nick
all
Chubb
they can.
He was wasn't he leading the running back thing with the PA?
He was a
get them
part of
paid.
it. I don't know if he was leading, but he definitely was. Yeah, he was like,
Yeah,
trying to get money. I actually saw something with like Shady McCoy. He was like, yeah, I was getting like $15 million a year years ago. I mean, he was just like, that's kind of crazy now how they devalue this position. So
yeah, I mean, you work them, and then it's like, you work them till their wheels fall off, and then you're like, you know what? I'll go find one in the draft real quick, and I'll work him off a rookie contract, work him. Oh, you know what? I'll get me a new one, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, it doesn't help that their backup balled out for him. Cleveland's backup, and then freaking they just plug in, Gus Edwards on the Ravens or Hill, for J.K. Dobbins, and they don't miss a beat. So
I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. But let's get back to the other Ohio team, and their 0-2 start, and Joe Burrow looking like Joe Blow. And then like
he's
Joe
hurt, bro.
Joe
He's hurt.
Smo.
He is.
Joe, give me my money back.
I mean, stop that.
Yeah.
You think you should give me money back?
You see what this man's done for Cincinnati. Come on now. Who was a Cincinnati Bengal? Come on.
I'm looking at what he did on a rookie contract. He did what he needed to do to get paid. He ain't shown me nothing since he's gotten paid.
My God. He's always been. I tell you what, he was like, "Oh, the Bengals are lucky to make it to the Super Bowl." Like, you can't be lucky and make it to the Super Bowl, bro. It's the hardest thing to do in sports.
Right, and then make it to the AFC Championship the next year.
Yeah. Jason always trying to hold a man down.
Yeah.
Trying to get from getting paid. No.
Joey B's hurt. Joey B's hurt.
Hey, he's hurt. He got paid. I'm happy he got paid.
Mm-hmm.
I just want a little cutback because it ain't working out. So I feel like you gotta give a little something back. Give something to Joe Mixon. He took a pay cut. He took a pay cut to stay on that team, and he doing more work than you. So you know what?
Jason's the advocate for the running backs. I get it.
Joe Burrow needs to give a piece of that money to Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon probably like, I should have tested out the free agency at this rate.
Exactly.
He's hurt.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's really. I mean, he's got to be.
Yeah, because no way he has Jamar Chase looking like, he can't get any yards. Like, it'd be crazy. I'm like 47, 30 yards. I'm like, this is Jamar Chase we're talking about.
And they've continued to spend on this offensive line, and it's still not good.
Yeah.
So
I mean, good.
Yeah, you put him back there, he can't, if he can't maneuver in the pocket because he can't push off that calf. It's just not. You could probably, I could see them struggling for the rest of the year for sure. Like, I don't think they'll be as bad as they were in these first two games, but they're 0-2 in the division now, so it's not just 0-2. Playing against NFC teams, they're 0-2 in the division, which means they're 0-2
like
in the conference. Yeah, they're 0-2 in the conference, and a division that I think is going. I still think that they're going to be pretty good. Just the way that the Steelers defense can play. I mean, Deshaun Watson doesn't look great either, but their defense is pretty solid.
Oh, their defense is filthy.
Yeah,
like Denzel Ward is crazy. Even though they lost that game,
from front to back, their defense is legit.
Yeah,
what do they look like without Nick Chubb? Does Jerome Ford ball or does?
So this is the thing that's interesting though, and I can't remember where I heard this, but it holds true. The Cleveland Browns offense was built around Nick Chubb. So, because you think, I mean, they've gone through a plethora of quarterbacks that just have not panned out. So their offense eventually went and surrounded Nick Chubb. He was their catalyst, everything. And now you have a quarterback who was coming from a system where everything was built around him when he was in Houston. So I think it's just interesting, and I feel like that could be a reason why Deshaun Watson is struggling a little bit, because the offense isn't necessarily tailored for him or for a quarterback per se. but more of a run game, a run style, run first type of offense. So I'm curious now with Nick Chubb out, do they now recreate the playbook a little bit? Maybe have more of a pass first type, and let's see if Deshaun Watson could be the Deshaun Watson of 4 years ago, and really get you going, and you don't have to rely so much on the run game, especially now that you've lost your workhorse.
I think you'll probably see an uptick in passing. Maybe 4 or 5 to 10, depending on the opponent, additional passes a game. I mean, they threw it a ton in this game, but I think a lot of it was after Nick Chubb went down too. So
it was.
So you might be right. You might be onto something there. We'll see how that. But he just doesn't look.
Exactly.
I mean, I get it. He doesn't look great. Let me ask you guys something. There's something that I've been wondering in the first 2 games I watched him play this year, and I kind of said it to myself last year when he came back. I feel like his throwing motion is different.
It does look different.
Does it look a little little wonky to you? Like it's not. It's like I thought it was more of like elongated. Maybe he's trying to clean it up a little bit, but I thought it was used to be more of a elongated release when he was with Houston, and it's more.
He definitely used to have a elongated.
It's more. It's more compact now, which is what they teach you to do. But it just feels like he's not comfortable in it. Like every time I see him throw the ball, I just feel like, dang, did he really want to throw that? So I wonder if it was just me. So Jason, you think so too?
Yeah.
He also just might not just be comfortable in general. You know what I mean? Like it's just he had like
he bold-faced like he's like, I didn't push the ref. Like, bro, we saw that. That we can see you, right? There's replay. I didn't push the ref. Let's stop lying, bro. You gotta start telling the truth.
You feel me? He has a history now of being deceptive. So I don't know, man. But you know what I will say, man, what I did see, just speaking of a former Browns quarterback, man, Baker Mayfield gets a new start, and he just looks like a new man, huh?
Hey, you know what they say, sometimes all it takes is just a new, new environment, new opportunity, and, you could reinvent yourself. You could become the best version of you, and maybe that's what it took. It took, because let's be real. I mean, the expectations aren't that high for him in Tampa. It's just we need a quarterback.
He's under the radar too.
Yeah, we need a quarterback. You kind of just fly under the radar. Our defense is still pretty solid, and so I think it makes it an easier situation versus when he went into Cleveland, and you're the number 1 pick, and you're expected to do all of these things. So I think, now it's like, he has more realistic expectations. Teams have more realistic expectations for him as well. And I think that's why you're starting to see a little bit more success in him actually looking, like he could have, when he first came into the league.
And they need to pay that man, Mike Evans. Like, they need to pay that man.
Mike Evans gone, man.
Yeah.
Mike Evans gone.
Yeah, I mean...
Look what this man's done.
It seemed like this was my opinion before the season started. It seemed like they were going, like, pushing towards probably a rebuild. So you can't be paying aging wide receivers, number 1 wide receiver money if you're going to start going the other direction. Now, if they feel like the talent is a little better than it was expected on the team, then maybe you do that. But it's, I don't know. But his contract is pretty good. He just wants to be extended and stay in Tampa, which I get. Like, he's been there his whole career.
And paid accordingly. I mean, in his first years of his career, he's had 1,000 yards above every year. And no other receiver has ever done this.
I'll tell you what, Mike Evans drives me crazy when I watch him play, and I'm gonna tell you why. He could probably be the best wide receiver in the game if he would stop just falling down after he catches the ball. He does not catch and run. It drives me nuts. Like, he'll catch and just fall to the ground.
He ain't trying to get hit, man. He's trying to.
Like, if he would catch and run, he would have at least 3,000 more receiving yards right now. We'd be talking about him coming up on the all-time receiving list ever. I'm telling you, watch a Bucs game. Watch a Bucs game.
Okay, so
he'll do it like 3 or 4 times a game.
And maybe with Brady, he probably had an opportunity for maybe having like one of those types of years, a Randy Moss type of year, but not with no Baker. It ain't gonna happen.
Baker feeding him. Baker's feeding him.
It ain't gonna happen. We all know.
What he have in this game though?
He had 100
it was
and
almost 200 yards, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and two touchdowns.
Yeah.
So we know. Look, Baker gonna be in one of these commercials cutting some lawn again, and there you go.
Oh no, he ain't no more commercials for him. He can't have no commercials for a while.
Hey, I like Baker's commercials.
You gotta win. Commercials.
I know,
losing.
He was like commercials. That one when he was like, "You like dogs?" They're like, "You have dogs?" They're like, "Yeah, there's a whole section full of them." I still love that commercial.
But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, but like I said, he looks good. Anthony Richardson looked good. What I need him to do, though, well, so I blame him for that play because
he's scoring though. It's not like he's in the middle of the field, so I'm not upset with him about that run.
But the thing is, all he had to do was just get into the end zone. He decided to just kind of lollygag in there and then ended up getting pushed for no reason. Like if he would have just ran into the end zone, he would have never gotten touched. But because he decided to just, let me skip in there real quick, the defensive player was able to just push him. And unfortunately, he hit his head. I mean, no one would have thought that would have happened. But I'm just saying, like, dude, you got to just get in there. Maybe just protect yourself.
More hopefully it's a good thing for it to happen in the first two games because he got absolutely crushed in the first game. I thought he was going to go out with a concussion. They took him out of the game, but it was only like a minute or two left, and he could have easily just slid or kind of eluded the hit in the first week, and he didn't. He went head first, got hit, and then in this game. So hopefully they're like, all right, listen, if you're going to make it in this league, dude, you got to start protecting yourself. Because I tell you who's a really extremely lucky quarterback who does this is Josh Allen.
Oh, yeah.
He hasn't had a big head, and I hope not ever. But he every time I watch him play, I'm like, bro, get down. I'm not even a Bills fan. I want them to lose. They're in the AFC. But I'm like, dude, stop doing that. And he just been lucky this whole. But Anthony Richardson first two games. First two games for AR.
Everybody.
Yeah, first two games for AR. Hopefully it's a wake up call for him because he needs to get down and get out of it. Like protect yourself. Because he's probably gonna miss this game. I mean, depending on how I mean, I if I was the Colts, I'd sit him down. Like you just drafted the kid number 4 overall. Like it meant you played well.
He did.
So
I mean, he did. He did look good. So
the future quarterback of the New York Jets.
Wishing him all the best and speedy recovery. So hopefully nothing too crazy. Dallas's defense stepped up once again. They are just wrecking shop. Michael Parsons is just unstoppable.
Yeah, they're a juggernaut.
And honestly, see them play against? No, and I don't disagree, but I just want to see them play against a formidable offensive line. Though they might have won against the 2 worst offensive lines in football.
But I think New York teams. But I think the way they play, though, I don't really know too many offensive lines that are going to be able to really stop them. Maybe slow them down, but not necessarily stop them. But what I want to see is, can the offense do something? Because right now they play real conservative offensively. It's a lot of check downs. They're making sure they are making sure Dak doesn't have turnovers galore.
100%.
And they are leaning so heavy on that defense. So I'm curious to see when it's a tight game or something like that, and you need your offense to finally really step up, or because obviously there's going to be a game where they're going to struggle defensively. They're not going to look as crisp as they had so far. But is the offense going to be able to, get them to that next level? Because, like they say, defense wins championships. And with their defense, they still won't win championships.
Jason is saying what all the Dallas haters say every single year. Just like, y'all get all this excited. We're going to the Super Bowl. And then the Cowboy. Right?
And that's exactly what's going to happen.
Jason just said it the nice way instead of just saying that. He was like, let's just see if listen, like we're all expecting for them to fall off a cliff at some point during the season. So we'll see what happens.
Normally it's in the playoffs.
But
I'm
again, I think it's going to be
confused.
offensively, not necessarily defensively. I think their
Oh,
defense is going to keep them in games, and I think offensively they are just not going to get it done.
Yeah,
they're gonna
I agree with you though. I want to see the same thing, and you're gonna have to put the defense in some non-passing, rushing down situations where you run the ball, keep them on their edge, where they're not teeing off on your offensive line. I mean, I don't understand why why the Jets thought Zach Wilson should be throwing the ball 40 times. Why did they not run the ball? You got Dalvin Cook and Brees Hall
running for 127 last week. You get a man
four carries.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You have one of the worst pass blocking offensive lines in the football right now.
Look,
you know what offensive lines like to do? They like to run the ball because it's so much easier to go forward than it is to keep people from going past you. I mean, so why not give your offensive line some juice and run the ball? I don't understand. So
they're still not equipped to beat San Fran yet. So
and that's what I'm saying. That was my next point, EJ. I'm glad you said that because San Francisco and Philadelphia can run the football.
Yeah.
So, and those are two teams that they have to deal with. So I'd like to, I want to see that. I mean, obviously they play Philly twice, but I want to see those matchups against teams that are going to be able to run the football, and then they play solid defense. Going to Jason's back to Jason's point is, will the offense be able to, hold up their end of the bargain when you get into those games that are tight? Because these first two games were blowouts. I mean, there was nothing. It was stress-free football for the first two games.
It was. But I mean, like I said, the defense is good. I mean, you got two corners in Diggs and Gilmore that are legit all-pro type cornerbacks. I mean, you got a strong line, anchored by Michael Parsons. I mean, so I defensively, like I said, they are going to be all right, and they are going to keep Dallas in games. It's, can the offense do it for them? Because when they
CD,
yeah, but I mean,
he's nice. Yeah, CD's nice.
He is, but again, you're putting a lot of trust in Dak to actually get the ball down the field and not these 5-yard plays. It's not like the Dolphins offense where you could throw a 3-yard slant to Waddle or Hill and it's going for 60 yards. CeeDee Lamb isn't that type of receiver. So with them, you got to get the ball up the field a lot more. And I mean, they haven't shown that they could really do it yet. I mean, I know Dak can do it, but so far in these first two games, I mean, it's been just their defense that's really won the game, set the tone from the beginning, and the offense kind of just, all right, just don't turn it over. Kill a little clock, and if you got to punt the ball away, and we'll get it back for you real quick. I mean, that's exactly what's happening. And so, I don't know. We'll see. And again, a lot comes down to health as well. If they could stay healthy or not. So, I mean, we'll see. We will see. But, we'll kind of go from there and see how week 3 pans out. Don't need to. I don't know if we don't really need to talk about Dolphins. Everybody know they the best team in the AFC right now. Can't nobody say nothing about that, right, Jimmy? Exactly.
I wouldn't disagree.
Means it all. See,
I wouldn't disagree.
That's what I'm talking about right there. No,
I responded.
You did afterwards, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm glad you responded the way you did.
Listen, I have been the Tua advocate on this show. By the way,
first of all,
you two continue to doubt that man.
Did you see that interception he threw trying to throw to Tyreek Hill? Man had the rookie DB beat by like 3 yards, and that ball was underthrown so terribly. Like, look, Tua need to throw the ball like 5 seconds before them boys get down the field and let them run onto it instead of trying to just get it out there. He don't got the arm for it. That's why them slants and those little dig routes and all of that work for us. He's great on a precision pass like that, and let the boys do the work.
To be the guy who's like, they were the best team in the AFC, and then you're like, my quarterback sucks. I just don't understand.
I didn't say my quarterback sucks. I said my quarterback can't throw the deep ball. His arm is strong enough.
Just fine. He might have to throw one here and there where it's an interception. He's throwing the deep ball just fine.
And whatever, tomato. However you see fit.
Well, he's 2-0. and the guy that you guys wanted is 0-2.
You know what? But you know what though, bro? So I heard that team, they've scored 50 points in the first 2 games.
First team to ever do that.
Yeah, ever do that. They've scored 50 points and be 0-2. Ever.
Yeah.
Like Josh Herbert hasn't he hasn't thrown an interception.
No, he's played well. He's played well.
So
the defense has failed him for one. The defense has failed him.
Yeah,
for sure.
And that's crazy because they got a legit defense.
Like, they got names. They got names.
Ballers.
Well, it's 2 years ago they were a really solid defense, and then they wanted to add to it because they were lacking on right. They got injured on the right side, so they went and got on as far as the cornerback goes. They went and got J.C. Jackson. He got hurt last year. They paid Joey Bosa. Khalil Mack they traded for Khalil Mack. He's a little bit. He's still a good player. He's just not your guy that's going to give you 15, 16 sacks a game anymore.
But you got a stud as
Derwin
a safety.
James.
You got a stud as a safety.
But this is the collection of name and people who are being paid that they're not playing well together as a unit. They're just they're being shredded right now. I mean, the Dolphins probably have the number 1 offense in football right now. So I mean, that's the shootout. That's kind of understandable. It happens in those type of games. But I mean, they got to stop something.
They had Tannehill out there looking like he was out there slinging it. What the heck is this?
Assignment Chargers. I don't like you. But you got to beat Tennessee. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah, for real. Who knows?
Man.
Hey, we'll see how week 3 pans out for some of these teams. But you know what? Let's jumping into trivia. We want to jump in kicks of the week. What are we doing? Trivia first?
Let's do trivia. And I think both you and I have one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
let's do it.
You want me to go first or you want to go first?
Yes, you go first.
All right. So currently there are 2 teams, one's first, one's second, with the most 30-point games, or the most consecutive 30-point games in college football. Who are those teams? And how many?
How long is the streak?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, that was the second part. How many? So, which would be how many games the streak is. All right.
I got to phone a friend here.
So, okay.
Right,
so
most 30-point
hold
games.
on. So I'll give you the streak. The team that has currently the longest streak is at 10 games, and the team in second has 9.
I'm gonna go with USC.
That was my first guess. USC.
You'd be wrong.
Okay.
Huh. High score.
30.
So 30 consecutive points, scored 30 or more points in 10 consecutive games, and the other is 30 or more points in 9 consecutive games.
It's so hard to narrow this down because there's so many colleges. If it was an NFL question, I feel like I could narrow this down a little bit.
Okay, so you need.
I have no idea.
A hint? You need a hint?
Yeah.
They're
Give me 50-50. What are we doing here?
They're in a Power 5 conference.
The Pac-2.
They're in the Power 5.
They had the Pac-2.
They're both currently undefeated.
Oregon?
No.
You're not gonna give us a conference. That's really easy. Though.
I think it'll be too easy if I give you the conference.
All right.
Georgia.
No, but they're both. So I'll give you another clue. It's the last one I'm gonna give. They're both ranked within the top 15.
Right now, both in the 15. Is Ole Miss one of them?
I could narrow it down. They're both in the top 10.
Both in the top 10. I don't even know. I don't follow the rankings until the college football rankings come out.
Well, I'll give y'all one more guess. One more guess, and then I'll just give it to y'all. Y'all want to take one more stab at it? Throw out some teams?
Oh, I thought you said you were going to give us another clue.
No, I'm done giving you guys
done with the clues.
You guys
it's not even trivia anymore. You're just basically giving us cliff notes, so breadcrumbs to get there.
The team with 10 current games, Penn State.
Penn State.
And the team at 9, Florida State.
Florida State. Yeah, I wouldn't guess either of those.
There you go.
Didn't have either of them on my radar.
Penn State.
Yep.
Huh.
I was surprised too.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jimmy. Who knew? Just putting up points like that.
All right.
All right, what
Okay.
you got for us?
So I gotta. We talked about Florida and Alabama today, so we're going college. All right. Name the only team that has beaten Florida in the SEC championship. There's only one. There's only one team that's ever beaten Florida in the SEC championship. One school.
It'd be Alabama, and that was in 2010.
I'm about to say
Ever.
Well, we just hold a second. We had on Applebee's in the SEC championship game, and we definitely lost.
You had Applebee's. Oh
yeah.
But the
What's the name? Applebee. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like Applebee's. We were at Applebee's watching a Florida game. What? What were we doing at Applebee's? It must have been.
And he was our quarterback.
I don't know. What's all right.
But who the heck were we playing then?
I mean,
yeah.
So Alabama?
No, it's Alabama. Alabama was the right answer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the only team that's ever. So obviously, we've been multiple times since 1992 when it was established, but that's the only school that's ever beaten Florida.
Didn't know that.
In the SEC. Okay. Yeah. All right.
I mean, that ended up being easy just because I remember when they lost to Alabama. Yeah. What was that, like 2000? Was that 10, 9? 2009.
2010. Yeah.
2009.
Tim Tebow, Mike Pouncey crying. Yeah, you're right.
2009.
All right, the other one. There's a second half of this question. There's only been one school to beat Alabama in the SEC championship game since its beginning.
Georgia. Because then Georgia beat didn't Georgia just beat them 2 years ago? Not last year, because they beat LSU last year. But the year before they beat Georgia. I mean, they beat.
Well, I'll tell you this: LSU is not right because they're both in the West, so they can't play in the SEC championship.
Oh, you're
game.
Right. 100%.
Right. That's what I'm saying Georgia. I'm saying Georgia beat LSU last year, and then they beat Alabama the year before. Because Alabama lost that game and still made the college playoffs that year.
No,
I think 2 years ago, right?
No? Georgia has not beaten Alabama in the SEC championship game.
So
they lost that game and then beat them in the playoff.
Oh, so I had it the wrong way around.
So it's us, right?
And then it'd be I had it the wrong way around.
Yeah, I was about to say that's us. So nobody else going to the SEC championship.
I was like, that's crazy because it's only ever been Florida to beat them, and Florida is the only team that ever beat Alabama. So.
Well, who else out of the East is going into the SEC championship? That was at Georgia or Florida. Like, Kentucky not going, Tennessee not going.
Like, it's tough when you start thinking about the 90s because Alabama wasn't what they are now in the 90s. Florida was, but Alabama wasn't what they were in the 90s. What they are now.
True.
So I thought the East side would kind of get you guys a little bit because you start thinking about the 90s. Tennessee was a good squad, but did they match up against Alabama? So. Yep.
All right. Well, what you got for us for kicks of the week?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna show you guys a little something here. First and foremost, different site this week. And another one I like to look at. This is nicekicks.com.
Nice Kicks.
All right.
Okay.
And this one that I'm going with here, I'm not a big fan of Jordan Lowe's, but when I saw this, I was like, okay. So I'm rocking these Air Jordan 6. These actually come out tomorrow. And
interesting.
That retails $200 on those.
Okay. Nice.
A gray sneaker looks better than any other color. It always does. I don't know why. It's just it could be the ugliest shoe, and if it's in gray, you're like, There's something about the gray color for sneakers for me. I don't know what it is.
You know, I'm surprised you didn't go since you went with Jordans. Actually, I'm surprised you didn't go with the 3s that are coming out this weekend.
I looked at them.
The J Balvin.
Yeah.
That collab. I like those. Those ones look kind of fresh.
Yeah, those are nice too. Those are coming out. I was looking at those.
Saturday? Friday? Someday.
The reason I went with these is because like the low is like the big thing right now where they're coming out with. Because even me, like as much as I love Jordans, I can't see myself buying a high top sneaker. I'm more of like a low guy now. I used to be, but I don't know. It takes me back to my Jabot wearing jeans with the high top.
The Jabots.
Wow.
With the high top, high top sneaks,
Telling your age. You're telling your age. You an old man.
You can't hide it anymore, man. Can't hide it anymore.
Sticky short set.
But All right,
got
fellas.
these grays in this beard, so the show's made already.
We all do. We all do.
Indeed.
It is what it is, you know. Father time. But you know what? We age
Waits
like
for no
fine
man.
wine. What?
Yeah, we're getting better. We're not getting older. I'm getting better.
That's what the old people say.
Maybe not
That's the old people say.
athletics, but and other facets of life. We're getting better, baby. Let's go.
But fellas, another great night, another great show. I want to thank you guys again for listening to Kicks, Cleats, and Athletes. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can watch us live on Tuesday nights right on YouTube, or catch us streaming on all platforms, iHeart, Spotify, Apple Music, where you listen. We there. Until next time, we out.
We out.